Hello, my name is Dr. P. Seduraman Shivakumar, Senior Scientist at the Central Tuber Crops Research Institute, Trivandrum. So, now we are going to deal about the non-projected aids, part 1. In this module, we will be dealing with various non-projected aids, especially the graphical aids. At the end of this module, you will be able to describe various graphical non-projected aids and develop expertise on creating these graphical aids and using them in education and extension. The non-projected materials are those materials that do not require any kind of projection for their utilization. The non-projected aids may be broadly divided into two types like teaching aids and display aids. So, what are teaching aids? The teaching aids are non-projected visuals which supplement traditional oral presentations. The teaching aids contain two types, that is graphical 2D aids or 3-dimensional aids. The graphical aids are the 2-dimensional aids which include graphs, maps, posters, diagrams and charts. The 3-dimensional aids are models, mockups and specimens. So, the second part is display aids. The display aids are those materials which are used as a standalone process and which are self-explanatory, which are displayed for others to read them. For example, like chalkboards, bulletin boards are coming under the display aids. So, let us discuss about the teaching aids, graphical teaching aids, 2-dimensional of aids. So, graphics are the 2-dimensional aids which are related to the writing, drawing and painting. These aids involve the use of graphic presentation in the form of graphs, maps, diagrams and charts. So, let us talk about diagrams, maps, charts and graphs. The diagrams, maps, charts and graphs are the visuals which contain more abstract form of information on a particular aspect. Diagram is any kind of line drawing of an object or an idea. So, there are several types of diagrams we will be coming across in our life. This affinity diagram, which is a business tool used to organize ideas and data. Tree diagram, which is used to identify various tasks that must be accomplished to complete a project or to achieve a specific objective. The other diagram is fishbone diagram, which explains the cause effect of a particular phenomena. Maps. Maps are informative diagram which represents proportionality of the surface of a region, country and the world. The maps convey the message by lines, symbols, words and colors. There are various types of maps which we come across in our life is political map, physical map, relief map, weather map, population map, road map and air maps. Charts. Charts is a graphical representation of the data in which the data is represented through symbols. There are various types of charts like pie chart, which is a circle with the sections having a key mentioned in each chart is used to differentiate and compare or to show relationship between the different entries. Then time charts, which are the tabular time chart which present the data in an ordinal sequence. Flow chart is a visual way of showing a process from beginning to the end. Organizational chart, which shows how one part of the organization relates to the other part of the organization. Classification charts, which are more similar to the organizational chart, but used mainly to classify or categorize different events, objects and species. Timelines, which is a popular tool in PRA technique, which illustrates the chronological relationship between the major events happened in a particular period of time. Comparison and contrast chart, which is used to show the similarities and the differences between two aspects or two things or two phenomena. Pareto chart is a type of chart that contains both bar and line graph, where the individual values are represented in descending order by the bars and the cumulative total is represented by the line. And the other chart is Gantt chart. It is an activity chart used for the project planning, especially in pattern CPM tools. Evolution chart, which shows an arrangement of facts and idea to express the change from one part to the another, that is past to present. Chain chart, It shows an arrangement of facts and ideas which is expressed in a cycle. When we comes to the graph, so graph is a visual presentation of a numerical data. They also illustrate the relationship among different units in the data and express the trend in the data. So, what are the different type of graphs available for us? The number one is pie graph. In the pie graph, a circle is divided into different segments with each portion representing a part of percentage of the whole. The second one is bar graph. It is a very easy to read and very easy to understand type of graph which shows in the vertical bars. The another type of graph is a line graph, which is a more complex process, like where a simple line shows the trend and the relationship between two different aspects or two different phenomena. Pictorial graph. Pictorial graph is nothing but a bar graph where the numerical units are represented by a simple drawing or a picture. Pictorial graphs are more interesting and it is appealing to a wide audience, especially for children and young students. So, what are the different advantages of using these diagrams, maps, charts? So, they are very good things to visualize a particular concept and provide a geographical perspective, especially in the case of maps. A chart can explain the sequence of a process and it can also analyze a problem situation. We can use the chart to analyze a problem situation from the problem to solution. Graphs can be used for making comparisons and also making contrast. The third group of graphical aids are flashcards, flannel graphs and flip charts. They are together called sequential aids. The flannel graphs, flashcards and flip charts are visual aids where the messages are either written or drawn on a thick paper and presented in step by the teacher to the learners along with the oral lecture. Flashcards are a series of cards containing a drawing with the text which are arranged sequentially on a particular topic. Flannel graphs are the papers with the sandpaper backing, from each one containing a individual message which are placed sequentially on a flannel board, while the flip charts are the series of the charts which are arranged like a calendar and the teacher explains the process by turning one by one sequentially. These aids are suitable for explaining a sequential process. For example, the process of preparing a vermicompost pits can be explained easily with these materials. These aids are suitable for a small group containing 20 learners. The other kind of graphical material is a poster, which is a very common and you may be familiar with these posters. The poster is a graphical aid which communicates a very short and quick message to the audience. It is primarily used for creating awareness about a particular topic. So, what should be the good poster? Like there are few guidelines for making a good poster, like it is able to attract the attention of the people and after attraction just convey the message quickly and make them to take action immediately. So, what are the different advantages of posters in extension or education work? The posters can be used effectively for making announcement for quick communication of relevant action oriented messages. The posters are relatively very cheap and very easy to prepare. So, there are certain guidelines which are compiled through various research studies conducted on the posters. So, they say like a good poster should have 5 important characteristics. The number one is brevity. It uses only 5 words which is brief enough to communicate the message, quick message, and it should be very simple, like it should have minimum number of text and illustration. It should not be disturbed. The audience should not be disturbed by seeing a complex poster. And the third one is visualization of the idea should be very creative and original. And the elements of a poster like a text and graphics should be logically arranged in a very attractive layout with a lot of white space. The other and final point is that using a very bright and pleasing and attractive colors which should not disturb the eyes of the viewer. The other type of graphical aids are cartoons. It is a very familiar graphical aid which we see in the newspaper in a day. Cartoon is a humorous caricature which gives a subtle message, that is only one message. It has a universal appeal and conveys only one idea. So, it can be used as a preparatory drawing in a piece of paper or in a piece of art before proceeding for making a big art or painting. It can be used as an educational aid with a bit of entertainment. The other graphical aid is photographs. Photographs is a photographic image or drawing which gives an accurate idea of a particular object or an aspect. Photographs are captured through cameras on the photographic film, which is processed into colorful images. In the recent years, the digital cameras are used to capture the image on a storage disk and then transfer it through the computers, either for printing or for use as a digital prints in the presentations. Photographs can be used as a supplementary materials during the classroom lectures. They are also used to support the textual information in the printed publications. Besides, photographs can be used in a variety of ways along with campaigns, exhibitions and video recordings. So, let us see what are the major advantages of using the photographs in extension or teaching. Photographs are effective tools for realistic representation of the object or a phenomenon. It produces a colorful pictures which capture attention of the viewers and arouse interest in the learners and provide them with the details about the object being displayed. A series of photographs can be used to explain a complex phenomenon in a simple way. For example, the solar system can be explained by showing all the planets in one picture, followed by the close-up photos of the individual planets and their moons, which facilitate understanding of a complex concept in an easy way. Digital photographs are relatively cheaper and can be used for multiple times without significant reduction in the quality. Photographs improve the credibility as they depict the reality in a very objective way. The other graphical aid is the handout. Handout is just like any written material to be covered in the class or information that support the material given during the class. It can cover a lot of in-depth material. Handouts may contain any exercises, additional notes or suggestion for the future references. It is mostly used as a supplementary material in the training programs or as a supplementary material in the classrooms. So, what are the major advantages of handouts? Handouts has a very good coverage of information apart from the material covered there, and it can cover very in-depth material. It can explain the things which are covered in the class. It is relatively inexpensive and it is easy to make changes in the small handouts without investing so much money. So, what are all the disadvantages of using the handouts? Like whenever the handout is given prior to the class, the student will spend the class time going over the handout, and if it is not covered in the class, and it is difficult to make changes in the handout if it is the mistakes are very large. The current forms needs to be constantly updated. There is no fixed way of keeping the handouts, and the spelling must be checked and the other typographical errors may be checked before giving the handouts. So, we have talked about the graphical aids. So, let us see about how the graphical aids are relevant to the education, or what are the different guidelines, or what are the different potentialities of the graphical aids in the field of education and extension. Graphical aids could be prepared by any teacher using a simple material that is easily available, that can be stored for a future. The graphical aids can help us to show the relationship by means of facts, figures, and they also help us to understand the abstract concepts in a very visual form. They help us to secure the attention of the students by their attractive format and the simplicity of the layout. They help us to gain the concepts of size, distance, space, location and direction by means of maps. They also develop the power of analysis, synthesis and deriving conclusion from the data given there. It helps us to interpret the things in a simple way. The data presented through graphics can easily be understood and grasped. That is why the graphics are used extensively for scientific presentation to make the complex concept in a simple manner. So, now we are at the end of the module on non-projected aids, that is graphical aids, two-dimensional aids. I hope Now, you learned about various graphical aids and the aspect related to their selection and use in training and extension situations. Thank you.